Hey there, beautiful souls, and welcome to another episode of Pain to Power. I'm your host, Jill Ripley. Today, I'm joined by Kristina Scaglione, founder of Root and Rise Clinical Specialist, a compassionate practice dedicated to helping individuals and families navigate life's toughest challenges with greater clarity, grounding, and empowerment. Kristina has built a beautiful team of clinicians who approach therapy as a collaborative journey, one that integrates trust, creativity, and authentic human connection. In our conversation, we'll explore what it really means to root ourselves in healing so that we can rise to the fullness of who we are, and how therapy at its best is not just about treatment, it's about transformation. So whether you're in the middle of a life transition, exploring your own patterns, or simply seeking a deeper understanding of yourself, this episode will remind you that healing is not about fixing what's broken. It's about remembering your wholeness. So, Kristina, welcome and thank you for being here today.
Hi, Jill. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to chat with you. Yeah. I'd love for you to start with your story. What inspired you to create Root and Rise, and how did your own experiences lead you into the world of mental health and healing?
Okay, so Root and Rise was born with my co-founder, Julie Stark, who is based in Florida. She's my best friend that I met in grad school, and we decided to go into business together to create kind of a boutique practice in order to help people reach their goals, and also we work alongside Limitless Integrative Wellness, which is a larger collection and wellness collective of multi-disciplines and many different types of providers. So if you think about it, Limitless is an umbrella and Root and Rise is underneath that umbrella. So in my journey of how I became a therapist, it was kind of by accident. My therapist suggested that I should become a therapist. And so while I was on my own healing journey, towards the end of that healing journey, my therapist urged me and pushed me to, go to grad school. And so I did that, and I studied in a lot of different areas, had a lot of different types of internships, and then I found myself in private practice. And this is that's a really watered down version of 15 years.
Wow, so that's really cool that your own therapist recognized and saw something in you to help you move along in your path.
Right. Yeah. And so, after COVID, Julie and I noticed, and as many therapists have noticed, that, therapy and the way that it's administered and the way that it's accessible has changed drastically because, everything had to go hybrid. Different types of concerns and conditions came up for us in COVID during the lockdown, a lot of uncertainty. So when we watched the field change, we thought it would be a good idea to, collect some of the practitioners that we like working with and that we refer to frequently and discuss possibly joining forces together to create a collection of women. And it's open to men too, but it just so happens to be that it's all women now. So a collection of women to provide multi-different specialties across all of our clients. So we are able to mix and match what might help modality wise. We use a multitude of different approaches individually in our practice one-on-one, but if there's something that someone else might be better at doing for a particular goal that a client has, we have an entire directory of individuals that we can refer to for that particular goal. And then we collaborate together to help that person create a better and more fulfilling life. So instead of just treating the issue that they're coming in with, we're treating the whole person, their environment, and their experience in this life.
I love that because it gives you a variety of options, because there's so many different modalities, and what may work well for one may not work well for someone else. And maybe you're doing something and something else will benefit this person as well. And you have it all under one roof, so to speak. I know,
and it's hybrid.
A lot of it is virtual as well, but under the, like you said, one umbrella.
One umbrella, exactly.
Really cool.
And because of COVID, we've been able to do hybrid services in multiple states.
Yeah, I think COVID was certainly a challenge, and it was devastating for a lot of people, but I think a lot of good things did come out of COVID. So
certainly some positives.
There was some positives, which I feel like if you look hard enough, there is positive in most everything. But sometimes it takes a little more of a magnifying glass to find it. But ultimately, I do think there's some good and even bad things. But the name Root and Rise carries such a powerful message. What does it mean to you personally, and how does it reflect the kind of transformation you aim to foster in your clients?
It's funny you're asking that because Julie and I had a conversation about how we interpreted the name very differently. I have a different interpretation than she does. I would say I give her credit for the name. She really designed the name and the logo that we're using now. But for me, Root and Rise means to, like you would picture a tree rooting into the ground before it can grow. So for me, I picture you're rooting it down. Your roots are getting deep into the soil. You're getting connected to the center of the earth. You're in alignment. And then from there, from that sturdiness, you can grow and you can branch out. And so I think for Julie, the way that she interpreted the name is digging things out to root something down and then to grow from there. So I think she pictures turned up soil and uncovering things and, excavating, if you will, before you plant yourself down to grow. So I think it's very interesting that we have very different images that come to mind when we think about the name. And what was the second half of your question?
Well, before we move on to that, I really like that you both have that different perspective of the name, because it is both, right? So it is uncovering and excavating, but it is also rooting yourself and grounding. So I think the fact that the name is so multidimensional, and then you have so many dimensions of practitioners in the under the umbrella, that I think that's perfect.
Yeah. So working alongside Limitless, even that name is, speaks for itself. It is a limitless amount of opportunity, a limitless amount of ability to work with premier holistic care providers that are redefining what it means to be healthy. And, they, again, like I said, Root and Rise is a founding member of Limitless, but Limitless itself, through collaboration and innovation, we create personal support.
That's awesome. And I think in your explanation, you really did answer the second part of the question as to
Thank you.
What does it mean to you personally, and how does it reflect the kind of transformation you foster in your clients? So Root and Rise seems to offer a very integrative approach, blending traditional therapy with creative, holistic, and even spiritual practices. How do you see these worlds working together in the healing process?
So I don't think, how do I answer this in a succinct way? When people come to therapy, I think they have, for those that have either been to therapy or have never been to therapy, I think there's an idea that they come in, they sit on a couch, and they talk to somebody about their problems. And I think that is traditionally what we have known therapy to be, psychoanalytic, something that is just very like Freudian. You sit there and then somebody's standing behind you writing notes. And
Right.
I think we have an image, and it's part of it is perpetuated from movies and pop culture. But I think what we're trying to do here is we're trying to treat it as multiple layers. And we're trying to help people see that therapy can extend beyond your chair and beyond your sofa with your therapist. This can be integrated into your life in many different ways. And there's a lot of different things that you can change personally, that whether you're driven to change them or you're being encouraged by your therapist to change, that create a level of transformation that you can't get from traditional therapy. And so what I mean by that is we incorporate coaching, we incorporate nutrition, we incorporate physical health, we incorporate consultations with individuals who might be able to fine tune areas of your life that maybe aren't operating at its optimum level. And I think when you think about therapy being all encompassing, it kind of changes the landscape on how you achieve your goals. It also changes the landscape that you would normally have with a therapist that's more traditional. I think for us, we're trying to help you see that therapy is, in a lot of ways, it's a holistic approach that focuses on truly investing in your own personal journey. So this is another thing that Julie coined in our practice is, When somebody says to you, what do you want to do with $1 million? A lot of people would have different answers, but a lot of people would also say, I want to invest that million into my life. I want to change what I have in my life. I want to invest that money. I want to buy things. I want to, transform. How come that's different for mental health? So mental wealth care is the term that Julie has coined in our practice, should be looked at as a way of personal investment, that anything that you invest in yourself is going to always pay you back. And so why would that be treated any differently than a personal nest egg that you have worked really hard to accrue? And so
I think the reason that is treated differently is because society has given us the mindset that when you seek therapy, it's a weakness. Like there's something wrong with you if you have to go to therapy. And I would totally disagree with that, because I truly feel that seeking out help is a sign of strength, not weakness. And when you have or are open to a variety of modalities, you just open yourself up to a whole world of possibilities.
Absolutely. So mental wealth is a vital component of overall well-being.
Absolutely.
So our approach is trying to go beyond traditional talk therapy. It's trying to integrate diverse evidence-based modalities, but it also supports mind, body, and spirit integration. So, I think it's best if practiced intentionally. And I think that when they come into therapy, especially when they come and sit with me, they're expecting one thing and they get another, and they really like the other that they get, because it's like, oh, this is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. It's a lot more enjoyable. And it's also something that I'm seeing results in within the first session.
Yeah, I totally can understand that. When people come to therapy, they're often feeling overwhelmed, anxious, or unsure where to begin. Mm-hmm. What do you wish more people understood about the first steps of healing?
Well, if you are brave enough to contact us to start that journey, one of the first things that I typically say in my responses, either on email or on the phone, is thanks for taking that step, because I know that step is usually the hardest part of the entire process, is actually just taking the leap and making the call or sending that email. And the other part I want people to know is it's just having a conversation. It's the art of having a conversation. You're just going to sit and talk. We're just going to talk. We're going to see what happens. We're going to see what comes out. We're just going to try to get an understanding of what it is that you've been carrying by yourself all this time. And we're just going to try to share that space with you in that moment. It's not about traumatizing you more or blaming people in your life or even blaming you for the things that you're going through. It's not about scrutiny or judgment. It's just about listening. And if you're okay with coming in and talking and letting someone hear you out, that's an entire dedicated hour just for you. And it's tailored to your needs. So it's undivided attention for a whole hour to be heard. And what I'm finding, especially, and I'm going to just pick up my phone and show you that, especially now, because we are doing so much stuff on phones and technology, and we're getting lost in social media. It's refreshing to feel heard with a live human for a whole hour, just to be heard. Just to be heard and seen. That. It's a different feeling that I think the younger generation doesn't know what they're missing out on yet, because they never really had it. And so I think, for us who are in different generations, we remember what it's like to connect with people. And so all you're really coming in to do initially is connect.
Yeah, I think we're all missing that connection, and social media is not as social as it seems.
Yeah, I think ironic name.
Really is disconnecting in many ways, even though you like and know like hundreds of people on your social media. How well do you really know them?
Right? That's a great question. How well do you know them?
How intimately do you know these people? And if you needed something, would they be there for you? Right.
Right.
And it's so when you have that one-on-one actual real connection, it's life-changing, I feel.
It definitely is. And I think because we're trying to help people look at this as a personal investment, it's a results-driven type of approach. We're trying to create meaningful change while honoring the individual or the individuality of each client. So I understand that things are really tough in different individuals' lives. Sometimes it's not as far as financials go, but I think for the most part, we're all kind of in the same space, feeling the squeeze lately, and to create a space where people recognize that choosing therapy is an investment. It's an investment in your personal growth. I want the listeners to know that we're committed to delivering action-oriented therapy results that empower you to live your life with greater clarity, resilience, and empowerment. So that money is going to good use because it's going back into you. And what's better than investing in you?
Oh, I 100% agree with that. I've invested in therapy many, many times in my life. Whenever I've had something that feels overwhelming to me, I've sought out a good therapist to help me to navigate it, because it's like having a GPS in your car or on a boat.
That's a good point.
Something to give you direction, and a good therapist will totally change your world. And many people carry deep trauma or pain, but they're hesitant to seek out help because they think therapy means something's wrong with me. How do you reframe that misconception?
Well, I mean, I think that's a societal pressure that people, feel that they have to take some sort of label with them when they're going in to seek help. What I would ask that individual is, what are you gaining by white knuckling your way through it? What exactly is helping you right now do it this way? And how has that been feeling for that person? And how is it helping you to go it alone? And I would say some people might even say, I've been doing a good job. And I would probably agree. Yeah, you're doing a great job up until you can't do it anymore. So, it's not super important to have a label associated with what it is that you're struggling with. Like I really see this more with the younger generation. This is no judgment to people that like to self-diagnose, but stop doing that. Stop doing that. Because oftentimes there's a lot of buzzwords out there, and there's misinformation that's being spread about what it is that people are struggling with. And then they think to themselves, oh my God, is that me? Because whatever they're reading online is super watered down or is tailored to getting a reaction. So I do get a lot of individuals that come in here and say, well, this is what I think I have because I read this online, or I saw a TikTok and they told me I had this. And then what ends up happening is they don't have that, and they're just, they're alive. And that's kind of what I come back to is, every single person has anxiety because they're alive. That's a good sign to let you know that you're still alive on this earth, is that you have anxiety. It's a hardwired response that we need in our bodies so we can stay alive. So we can't get rid of that. We can manage it differently, and we can turn the volume down, but you can't eliminate it. So when people come in and they say that they think that something's wrong with them, I would say there's two ways you can look at this. One, who doesn't have something? And two, why is it important if it's wrong? I want to know why. What's the association with that word? And so what if it just is, and it's not about having something wrong? What if it just is, it exists, and we just work with whatever that is, as opposed to having to put it into a box and shaming it?
Exactly. I don't remember where I heard this, but somebody said, once you name it, you get to keep it. Right? So when you say, I am anxious, or I am nervous, I am afraid, then you are, because now you've named it, you get to keep it. If you switch it around and you say, I'm struggling right now, but I'm looking for a solution, it's a little different shift. Yeah. On what you're thinking. So as you said, you're self-diagnosing, I am, I'm manic depressive, I am this, I am that, I'm bipolar, I am whatever. Maybe you are, but maybe you're not.
I think there's some comfort in, and sometimes people having a label in something, they might feel like they can start from ground zero now because they have what they think is the issue, and they can build upon that. And I would say in some respects, I can see why that would be helpful. But in reality, let's just suggest that whatever this is presenting as at the moment, it doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be here permanently. And let's also think about why it is that it's presenting in this way. So whether or not we have a label isn't really important. If it helps you understand the environment or landscape better, then we can use it temporarily. But I think what's super important to recognize is let's try to find things that help you feel like you're in control instead of the label controlling what happens next.
I really like that approach a lot. So, as the founder of a growing practice, what qualities do you look for in the clinicians that you bring onto your team?
Humor, number one.
I love that.
Having a good sense of humor. I'm lucky enough to have clinicians that have been in the field for a number of years. And they've been running their own practices for over a decade. They have specialties and niches that they have fine-tuned and have developed themselves in. So the people that I have part of the practice technically operate in their own practices as well as working in this collaborative environment, but they have chosen to be part of the collaborative environment with professionals of like mind because they enjoy sharing with each other. They enjoy growing something that's separate from what a private practice can feel is very isolating and alone. So, when you join a group, it's got a different vibe. It's got a different feeling. You get to shoot ideas back and forth. You get to share in what it feels like to treat different clients because you might actually be sharing that client because they might be doing some work with that particular clinician that's outside of your scope and then giving them back to you to complete the next leg of their trip. So I think I was lucky enough to be able to design this in a way where people are already established in their fields, but they just want to be part of a team. And having that team mindset it's not about what's the word I'm looking for? It's not about standing out from the rest. It's about being part of a woven cloth that helps, blanket what the field is generating right now, what we're producing. And so on one hand, I have that side of it. And then I do have a section where people who want to learn from us and who want to learn from other people that we collaborate with who are a little bit lesser experienced in their field, they are able to join because they get to be in this fishbowl of knowledge and collaboration. So I do have two sides of the practice, and it's been a lot of fun. If I'm being honest, it's been a lot of fun to be able to work with so many different types of individuals and we all do group supervision. We provide supervision with each other, case review. We help teach lesser experienced clinicians in a really fun environment. So if you want to be part of a collaboration and a team and you have a good amount of experience and you've established yourself in the field, that's one thing we look for. And the other part that we look for is if you are thirsty for knowledge and you want to be part of a growing practice that's shifting the landscape of mental health.
That's really amazing. I love your approach to that. Now, in your own life, how do you stay grounded while holding space for others? Are there personal practices or routines that help you stay balanced?
Yes, I walk around with a weighted blanket. So
you do?
I don't. No, I don't. I have a weighted.
You said humor.
I did. I have a weighted pillow that I like to use sometimes in between sessions. It's behind me. But I have daily rituals. I have daily practices that I engage in. I have a morning routine and I have a night routine, and they help me stay grounded. I have a really close-knit inner circle that when I choose to mingle outside of this office, which, in my field, because we hold so many hours of space for individuals one-to-one or family sessions, which is, could be 4-to-1, but because we hold so much space in our workday, sometimes it's hard to socialize outside of that because we're fatigued. And so I have a really great inner circle that I'm able to socialize with that help me feel grounded and re-energized that I really value. So outside of my daily rituals that I do for myself, which are grounding, meditation, I have, an altar that I like to use for my affirmations and things that I want to envision. I have a vision statement, a vision board. Every single thing I teach my clients, I do myself. So I have all of these particular rituals that I participate in. I have got a spiritual coaching team that I work with also. So I have a coach, Sonia Tully, that I work with biweekly, and I also work with Sabrina Schmid, Spiritually Goldie, and they are my spiritual coaches and mediums that I work with, and they're also part of the collective. Plus, I have supplements that I use. I have an exercise routine, and all these things have been woven into my life to help me operate optimally so that when I'm holding space for you, I'm clear. And that's the biggest point. I have to be a clear channel for me to help my clients. And a lot of my sessions are led with intuition. And if I don't have a clear antenna, you're not going to get what you paid for. And I want to make sure that people get what they pay for.
I think that's great. I have a very similar routine and practice. And so I love that you practice what you preach. Looking ahead, what is next for Root and Rise? Are there any projects, collaborations, or visions for the future that you're excited to share?
Yeah, so sure. So we do work alongside Limitless. Limitless is growing. We have an amazing wellness collective that if anybody's listening wants to check us out, they can. I'll give you all the information so you can list it for your listeners. But we do a lot of workshops. We do a lot of collaboration with all the practitioners that are in that. And so one of the things that we're working on right now is expanding into other states. So we're going to be expanding into Florida. Root and Rise already exists with in-person sessions available in Florida and New York. We already have that, but we're also licensed in Connecticut and Massachusetts. Hey, Jill, we're licensed by you. And
I love that.
We would like to be able to offer, like I was saying before, the services that we have go beyond the couch and go beyond the chair. So some of the things that we would like to be able to offer outside of New York are the same things that we offer in New York. So we have vitamin IV drips and therapy. We have red light therapy. We have a massage therapist. We have hypnotherapy. We have a nutritionist. We have a personal trainer. We have spiritual coaches. So that is something that every client that comes in through Root and Rise has access to because we're part of that collective organization, Limitless. And so I would like to be able to duplicate that in another state. That's one thing we're working on. The other thing that we're working on is Julie and I have a podcast that we're going to be launching. And Jill, I can't wait to have you on.
Oh, great. I'm excited to hear that.
Yes, it's going to be called Therapy Unhinged.
Oh, that sounds juicy.
It's going to be, yeah. So we'll have that. We just started. I know this is going to sound crazy, but I've been resisting for over a year, but we started a TikTok recently and I was like, oh, I don't want to do it, but I had to. So we are on TikTok now. And so we have a couple of different creative projects that we're doing, but all of it is geared towards exposure, letting clients know where we are so they know how to find us, spreading the word about wellness and mental wealth care. So those are some of the things that we're working on.
Okay. So tell us where everybody can find you.
Okay. So Root and Rise is, I was going to spell out the whole entire thing. I guess I will. So it's www.rootandrise, so spelled out, AND&RISE.com. And then there's www.limitlessintegrativewellness.com, and all spelled out exactly as the words are spelled. No shortening of anything there. And you can find us online as Root and Rise CS New York, or you can find us on Facebook, Instagram, Limitless Integrative Wellness. And I will send you all that information.
Yeah, please do. I'll put it in the show notes. And I'm so grateful for your time today.
Thank you so much, Jill.
Thank you for being here and sharing your wisdom and heart with us today. I truly appreciate the work that you and your team are doing through Root and Rise Clinical Specialists, creating a space where people can feel seen, supported, and safe to grow. For those of you listening, I hope this conversation reminded you that healing is not a destination. It's a journey of rooting deeper into what you are so that you can rise into what you're meant to be. Whether you're taking your very first step or continuing along your path, remember, you don't have to do it alone. If this episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to like, subscribe, and leave a comment. And if you know someone who could benefit from hearing it, please share it forward. Every share helps more people find the healing and empowerment they're searching for. Thank you, as always, for tuning in and sharing this space with me. Until next time, beautiful souls, take gentle care of yourselves. And remember, your pain can become your power and your story can become your strength.